Welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another video here at Simply Fujica. I have to kick off this video by thanking you for 15,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for not only tuning into the videos each and every week, but by actually supporting the channel by subscribing. I really cannot thank you enough. Just a couple of announcements before we get started today. Do not forget my one and only seminar. I don't know how I got to the end of the year and I have not done any webinars, but my one and only webinar this year is Homecare 101. It is scheduled for Saturday, October 19th. The link is in the video description below, so definitely you want to check that out. Not only does the link take you to where you can actually purchase the webinar, but there's actually a video in there so that tells you a little bit about the course and what to expect. I do recommend that you have just a small consultation if you really want to sign up, and that way I can answer any questions that you may have. Literally, the consultation is between 5 and 10 minutes. Again, this is just an opportunity for us to get to know each other and for me to answer any questions that you may have. Secondly, this is the time during the year, everyone is aware, I kind of slow down my consultations for the rest of the year. So if you're an existing client, this message means nothing to you, but for those who are wishing to start consultation services, you might want to get in there because I do shut it down for October, November, and December. For today's topic, I want to talk to you about creating a companionship program. Not just your standard sit with the client and write checks with them, if that's something that we can still do nowadays, but it's actually how do you create a companionship program that will take your home care services to the next level. So if that's something you're interested in, and I hope that it is, then stay tuned. So in today's video, I have prepared 5 tips for you. I do have a bonus tip at the end that I hope will wrap this all up for everyone. So I want to start off by talking about how important it is as a new home care agency for you to build a successful companionship program. When you think of why a person would seek companionship, this person is typically looking for social interaction and ongoing support. So if you use that as the basis of you creating this service, I'm here to tell you that you will have people wanting your service. So this is a perfect segue into tip number 1. The first tip that I have for you is understanding your client's needs. Now, everyone has heard about a client assessment. That's really not what I'm only talking about here. Typically, when you conduct an assessment, we are looking at their physical needs. What do they actually need for us to do? What services do they acquire? But when we're talking about companionship, this is really what support do they need emotionally? What support do they need socially? So this is just kind of peeling back the layers, making sure that you understand what it is that client needs and desires from you. And so part of that is starting from that first phone call, that first email, if that client is deciding that they want to in fact sign up with you. So from that first interaction, you're careful to understand who your client is, what your client is looking for, how your agency can be different from past agencies that they work for, or your agency is that introduction into the home health field, right? So bearing that in mind, from interaction 1, you are building that rapport. You are building that relationship that you will have with this client. As this client gets more comfortable with you, as trust starts to build, then they feel comfortable sharing with you what it is they're looking for. Based on what that client tells you, you are offering that client a companionship program that aligns with their interests and their needs. The second big tip that I have for you is to offer a range of activities. I think a lot of times when people think of companionship care, they think of just kind of sitting down with the client and having conversations with them. And that may be all that the client needs. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. However, you won't know if the client has not really opened up to you yet, maybe they're still warming up to you, it's going to be up to you to take the lead in discussing what kind of activities does that client want to participate in. So some of those activities could be as small as watching their favorite program with them. It could be reading with them, reading to them, but it could also be as high as actually taking them to an activity. The way you can kind of level up this activity is actual social interactions, actual outings with the client. So this can include, if you are already accompanying this client to doctor's appointments and things of that nature, can you go early or plan to arrive late by maybe stopping by and getting some breakfast or lunch before you go into the activity, before you go into the appointment? Maybe post-appointment, you're taking that client to dinner, or maybe you're stopping by the mall on the way home. See, these are types of things where you can truly be a companion for your client. The last item that I'm going to speak about here is just maybe some light mobility, light exercise. Really encourage that client. Maybe you want to go out for a walk. Maybe there's a beautiful park that you live by. Is there, maybe you can drive to the location and then walk around the park, especially if you have a beautiful park where you could really just kind of walk around, have that conversation. All of those things really boost a person's emotional health and well-being. The third tip that I have for you is to promote respect and client autonomy. Now, I know sometimes this is a little bit of a gray line, because in our minds we're thinking, well, the client has hired us, so we really need to handle everything. But not so much. Remember, a lot of our clients are trying to hang on to their independence. They really want to feel good about their level of participation in the activity. So the onus is on us to train our caregivers to ensure that they're looking for context clues, or they're frequently checking in with the client to ensure that they're comfortable, to ensure these are activities that they want to do. This approach enhances the quality of care and also increases client satisfaction. The fourth tip that I want to talk about here, and this is something that we often forget when we're instituting programs such as these, is to make sure you're monitoring your program for success and that you're also soliciting feedback. So it is typically that caregiver and that client that are engaging in this type of relationship. As the owner, you are going to be making the big decisions in terms of, is this program working? Am I holding on to my clients? Are my caregivers feeling good about giving these types of services? The only way you're going to know the answer to those questions is if you're constantly monitoring the success of these programs. The second piece of that, and really when you're seeking feedback from both sides of the coin. Really, you want to ask your caregivers, how are they doing? Do they have any ideas to improve the program? This could be we often talk about recognition on this channel, and so this could be a perfect, if you end up implementing something that an idea that a caregiver gives you, then this is another way where you can acknowledge that idea and share with the team what a wonderful idea that Amy has come up with. So again, just small things to where you're not breaking the bank, but you're increasing morale. Okay. The second side of that is asking the clients. Now this could be as like an email that you send out, maybe it's a survey that you send out. It could be a phone call, or when you do your next client visit. Just, hey, I wanted to check in. How's your companion program going? How are the services? Do you have any tips for recommendation? All of these things allows that client to know that you are partnering with them in their care. The fifth and last tip that I have is to hire compassionate staff. And this is easier said than done. A lot of times when you're interviewing someone, of course, they're putting their best foot forward, and so they may appear to be more compassionate than they actually are. So the best thing that you can do for this is make sure you have questions set up that speak to compassion. Tell me about a time that you had to implement a companionship program. Tell me what companionship care looked like for a previous employer. So sometimes you're not only looking for the answer, but you're looking as to the way a person is answering. So if they're stuttering and hemming and hawing to that, definitely give them some grace. Some of that could just be nervousness, or they could be looking for an answer, right? So it's up for you to really be listening for those cues. Okay, someone who's compassionate would have no problem in saying, well, I don't know if we had a companionship program, but here are some things that I used to love to do for my clients. See, when a person gets very excited, they want to tell you about how they care for a client, this is something that they love doing, right? So this is a person that you would want on your team. So that is my last tip, but as promised, I do have a bonus tip for you. The bonus tip that I have for you is you want to market your companionship program. Now this is going to be different than marketing your home care agency or marketing your home care services. This is truly allowing you to target your niche market, whether it's our disabled citizens, maybe it's our veterans, whatever your particular niche is. You really want to be prepared to sell the benefits of why a person would need companionship care. You know, you can speak to the fact that this reduces loneliness, that enhances mental well-being, things of that nature. So this is a perfect way for you to niche down who you're actually trying to attract and let them know what benefits, what services you have for them. Okay, so I hope that you all did enjoy this video. Companionship care is something that I'm passionate about, and it really gives us an opportunity to get to know our clients and really help them be at their best. So if I missed anything, make sure you put them in the comment section. If you like today's video, I would appreciate you liking the video and then subscribing to the channel, and then of course hitting that bell notification so that you're notified each and every time I release a new video. If you are still looking, if you want to look into the services that I provide, some classes that I've done in the past, you can certainly look at my website, which is simplyfujica.com. And then if you have any questions, you can always email me at simplyfujica@yahoo.com. That's all I have for you all today. Stay blessed.